quiet and peace. That's what usually say typical aliens, but then they explode everything. Well, I created a story about two super cool aliens who came to explore humanity. They have actually in their planet absolutely another social system, and everything on Earth is a surprise for them. And here is where the drama begins. So let's listen this story, and don't forget to subscribe on my channel if you like it.
Nori is awarded an honorary medal as the best young researcher in the Department of Space Exploration. Let's give her a round of applause, dear colleagues. A young woman with a warm smile and kind, insightful eyes stepped onto the stage. The audience greeted her with heartfelt warmth and enthusiastic applause. Approaching the microphone, she spoke, "Thank you so much for your support. I will continue to work hard for the prosperity of Lorelia. Together, we have discovered many magical and wondrous worlds. Let's not stop here." The head of the department, filled with pride and gratitude, handed Nori the medal.
Stop by the lab after the celebration. I have a new assignment for you.
Nori's heart fluttered with joyful anticipation. She thought, could it be that my request has finally been approved? As soon as the formal part of the event concluded, Nori hurried to the research center. Her closest colleagues were already gathered there. They sat around a large oval table, their eyes fixed on the director, who quickly dispelled the suspense, explaining that they had gathered to discuss a new expedition. This time, the mission was to explore a planet abundant in life and rich in water resources. Nori had long dreamed of going on a true long-distance expedition, and when she learned the destination was Earth, she was overjoyed.
We will need one more volunteer to accompany Nori as an assistant.
Immediately, a young man who had been nervously glancing at Nori throughout the discussion raised his hand.
If no one objects, I would like to accompany the professor. We've known each other since childhood, and I fear I'll worry about her safety if I stay behind.
The director nodded approvingly.
Very well, Niso. It's decided then. The two of you will go together, and of course you can take as much equipment as necessary for gathering information and personal protection. Upon arrival, don't forget to alter your appearance so as not to stand out among the locals and avoid unnecessary questions, understood?
Nori and Niso nodded in agreement. With that, the briefing ended and everyone began preparing for the mission. Nori playfully smiled at her friend. "There's no need to worry so much. I could have managed on my own, you know."
Are you saying you're not happy to have me on the team? I don't care. You might be a brilliant scientist, but an extra pair of hands won't hurt.
Nori gave him a playful flick on the forehead. "Silly, of course I'm happy. But remember, I'm not a child anymore." Her friend smiled back, responding,
If you have to say that, you're still a little girl.
For that, the alien received another flick. They both headed to the cafeteria and spent a pleasant afternoon discussing their upcoming journey. Soon, everything was ready, and the research starship set off into the depths of space. Lorelian's technology allowed them to travel vast distances in mere minutes. By Earth's measure, it was only a few days before the travelers reached Earth's orbit. Niso activated the ship's cloaking device, and they landed discreetly in a forest. Exploring the surroundings proved to be quite exciting. Nori collected soil and plant samples, initially near their campsite, but gradually moved closer to human settlements. One day, as she approached a road, she saw several humans and quickly copied their appearance.
They're all the same species, yet they speak differently. What a peculiar local custom.
It turned out that Earthlings were not that different physiologically. Nori only adjusted her skin color, ear shape, and some facial features. She looked in the mirror and smiled with satisfaction.
Now I'll blend in perfectly with the locals.
Still aboard her ship, Nori had intercepted radio frequencies, spending over a month learning human languages, particularly English, and some others. The young alien was amazed by the vast array of languages and dialects. However, understanding everything proved difficult, so the scientists decided to move their ship closer to the settlement to observe humans more closely. This helped them learn the name of their location and confirm that the locals spoke English. prompting Nori to study it in greater detail. The alien practiced human speech and behavior until she became nearly indistinguishable from them, enabling her to move on to the next stage of her mission, finally making contact with the locals. Though there were still some words she didn't fully understand, she first spoke with children in a park. It was a brother and sister playing with their dog. It was summer, and the school children were enjoying their vacation. Nearby, a store bustled with people entering and leaving, which piqued Nori's interest. She watched with a smile as the children petted their small, fluffy dog and threw a ball for it. Sensing an unfamiliar presence, the dog began barking at Nori. The brother apologized for its behavior.
Sorry, kids, for scaring your little friend. I'm from far away and would like to ask you a few things firsthand. Can you help me?
The children eagerly agreed, liking Nori instantly. She was evidently a charming earthling, judging by the reactions of those around them. Later, she would deeply regret this, wishing she had appeared less attractive. But for now, everything was going as Nori had hoped. The children explained what a store was, and that you needed money to buy food or clothes, though they couldn't quite elaborate on why this was so. However, it helped Nori finally understand what people were talking about on the radio.
Our dad says money is the key to happiness. As for me, I'm happy when I can get what I want, and without money, that's hard.
On Nori's home planet, there was no money. Everyone had what they needed to live, so the existence of such a strange system puzzled the scientist. That evening, she discussed the new information with Niso.
I just don't understand why people complicate their lives like this. It's illogical. We'll see with time. But I think it's a form of control. Just be careful, okay?
Next, Nori went to the beach and discovered it was a very popular place for relaxation. The alien sat on the damp sand and touched the clear waves with her hand. Around her, people were joyfully splashing in the water or resting under umbrellas. Nori felt the urge to get an umbrella and lie in the shade. She found an empty lounge chair and gazed up at the serene blue sky.
What beauty! I've never seen anything like it. Next time I'll bring Niso here. He's sure to love it.
But at that moment, the beach administrator approached her with a serious look and asked when she planned to pay for the umbrella and lounge chair rental. Nori was caught off guard, but then remembered the issue of money on Earth and understood everything. She politely replied to the administrator.
Sorry, I thought payment wasn't required.
The man replied sarcastically.
Girl, what planet are you from? This is a paid beach. If you don't have money, head to the one next door.
A very unpleasant feeling arose in Nori's chest, one she had never experienced before. It was as if she were guilty for not having something, and this made her feel like a second-rate being. Tears welled up in her large, beautiful eyes, and the alien quickly jumped off the lounge chair, ready to run away. The colors around her dimmed, and she wanted nothing more than to return home. But suddenly, something happened that changed the course of events. Nearby, under an umbrella, a young man had overheard the unpleasant conversation. He put down his book and approached the administrator.
I'm paying for the spot. The young lady just forgot to mention it.
My apologies for the oversight.
Nori's attention now shifted to this knight in shining armor, and her sadness melted away, replaced by admiration and gratitude. Nori couldn't recall ever finding humans so beautiful, but this young man seemed to shine among all the others on the beach. She was also drawn to his casual and calm demeanor. Nori simply couldn't take her eyes off the stranger. The young man politely introduced himself.
My name is Frank. I'm very pleased to be of help. I hope you can now enjoy your time here.
The alien assured him that everything was perfect and that she would gladly stay at this beach. Frank treated Nori to fresh fruit juice and ocean shrimp. It was the first Earth food the girl had tasted, and she loved the flavor. Frank even had a small yacht on which he sailed every summer. Soon, Nori realized that most people primarily focused on a person's social status and income. It was clear that her new friend had a lot of money, as everyone was very polite in their interactions with him. Now, returning to the starship, Nori talked endlessly to Niso about her new acquaintance and their adventures together. Her heart was filled with a new, unknown feeling that grew stronger every day.
Nori, I'm really glad you've learned so much about humans, but don't forget about our mission. I'm concerned about your emotional state. We're here to gather information, and soon we'll have to return home. 3 months had passed since the start of our mission, and I think it's time to take a break.
Nori responded thoughtfully. I think I want to stay on Earth, at least for the time being. Right now, I feel truly happy, and I believe this might be where I belong. Niso was stunned by this news, unsure of how to respond, but he finally dared to ask.
Is this because of that man? I understand that you're probably in love and can't think clearly, but listen to me carefully. I'm glad you're happy, but you can never become one of them. Understand, I've studied human society a bit, and I see that our ways of thinking and social systems are different. Plus, people fear and hate what they don't understand. You'll have to hide your true self for the rest of your life. Are you really ready for that?
"Don't say that!" Nori exclaimed, delivering a sharp slap to Niso's cheek before retreating to her cabin. The alien watched her leave, sadness in his eyes, and whispered,
That slap stung. Seems I won't be able to talk her out of this.
He sighed deeply and resolved to secretly keep an eye on his friend, to make sure she didn't do anything reckless. The next day, Nori met her beloved on his yacht, and they set out to sea to enjoy the evening sun together. Niso, disguised as a cleaner, snuck aboard, following the chef Frank had hired to prepare dinner. Left alone with Frank, Nori decided it was time to reveal the truth about herself, believing that since he loved her, everything would be fine. She waited for the right moment, and after a few glasses of wine, she finally gathered the courage. Sitting across from him with the sun gently lighting her face, Frank noticed her tense expression and asked,
Is everything okay, dear? Do you want to say something?
Nori realized this was the perfect moment, and there was no turning back. She revealed her true form and confessed that she was from another planet. Surprisingly, Frank took the news calmly, though a strange glint appeared in his eyes. He simply asked if they could take some photos together and invited her to stay on his yacht. Nori sighed with relief, thinking that now her beloved knew her secret and wasn't afraid, they could grow even closer. But the next evening brought something the alien hadn't anticipated. Meanwhile, what was Niso up to? The moment he boarded the yacht disguised as a cleaner, he planted listening devices around the perimeter and even in the owner's office. While sweeping the kitchen, he overheard Frank on the phone. To the alien's horror, they were talking about Nori.
You won't believe it, but I've found what you've been searching for all this time. Forget about those useless reports and eyewitnesses who claimed they saw strange atmospheric phenomena. Most of them are fake, but I think I've found a real alien. You'll believe it when you see it. I'll send a photo now.
Niso realized that his friend was in serious trouble, and they needed to get off the yacht and off Earth as soon as possible. But there was no opportunity to act immediately, so he stayed hidden, waiting for the right moment. The next day, Frank told Nori he was planning a party with some friends. Nori had never been to a human celebration and was excited about the chance to join in. But in reality, Frank's guests were members of a new organization dedicated to studying unexplained phenomena. Frank hoped to gain fame from his close connection with an alien. With his connections, he could release a series of sensational articles and appear on television, but he needed an authoritative organization to confirm the truth of his claims. So he convinced Nori to reveal her true form to his friends, suggesting that since they were his friends, they should be hers too. Besides, she wanted to officially bridge the gap between their two races. She knew that Niso would probably say this was beyond their mission's scope. They were only supposed to gather information and observe, nothing more. But Nori believed she was doing the right thing. During dinner, she tried to make the best impression, and when she learned that Frank's friends also worked in a research center, she was thrilled. They were her colleagues. They could discuss many professional topics. Just as she was about to ask a few of her burning questions, a group of people in military uniforms stormed the yacht. Frank and his scientist friends were caught off guard, not understanding what was happening. When the scientists asked who they were, the uninvited guests replied that they had orders to take the alien to a special facility for questioning.
I'm sorry, Nori. I didn't think it would turn out like this. I just wanted people to know about you and...
The scientist frowned and added,
Oh, come on, Frank. It doesn't matter whether you wanted fame or whatever. Things have gotten way out of hand.
Nori saw that she was surrounded on all sides by unfriendly faces. Tears welled up in her eyes. In that moment, she realized she was nothing more than a curiosity or a strange pet to them. But what could she do now? Just as the alien was pondering this, there was a commotion in the corridor, and Niso burst into the room, knocking everyone down with a special sonic weapon. He quickly tossed a similar weapon to Nori and shouted,
Run, Nori! I'll cover you!
It all happened so fast that the agents were slow to react. Nori glanced at Frank one last time, her eyes full of tears, and bolted for the exit while Niso fought off the group of tall, muscular humans.
I never thought I'd have to use weapons on this mission.
Niso muttered bitterly through clenched teeth. Meanwhile, Nori dived into the water and hid. She was terribly worried about Niso and couldn't bring herself to simply flee without looking back. Niso was right. It's my fault that his life is in danger now. The stress was overwhelming, but it wasn't the time to cry. Nori overheard.
Tie him up. If the girl escaped, we'll take this one.
There were a few shots, and the agents left the yacht carrying Niso with them. They were about to load him onto their boat. If they take him now, we may never see each other again. He's risking his life to save me. And I'm just going to stand by and watch? No way. I'm a scientist. I have to come up with something. I need an unexpected attack. Then she remembered seeing a giant toothy fish at the aquarium. The tour guide had said it was quite dangerous. It had been one of those fascinating excursions she had taken with Frank. It seems he taught me a lot, and for that I'm grateful, Nori exclaimed as she transformed into a shark. With all her strength, she leaped out of the water, knocking Niso out of the agent's hands just as they were crossing over to their boat. A massive splash, and both aliens were deep underwater. Nori immediately reverted to her normal form, as it was dangerous to remain a predator near her bleeding friend. She grabbed him and swam away. Niso was unconscious and unable to transform, so Nori formed fins on her legs to swim faster. She saw several men dive in after her, but it was futile to search in the dark water. Reaching the shore, Nori bandaged her friend's wound and carried him to their spaceship. She tried to avoid being seen by humans. Hold on a little longer, my friend. We're heading home. The alien placed Niso in a medical capsule and gently stroked his head. I need you. Please, get better soon. Nori set the course for her home planet and engaged the autopilot. Earth gradually receded, growing smaller and smaller. Only the wound in Professor Nori's heart did not shrink. She opened the ship's log and recorded her final conclusion about the expedition. Planet Earth is unsuitable for habitation. Visits are not recommended.
So, that was the story. She's an alien. And now we will choose another task. And let's start with genre. Oh, wow, science fiction, very well. Science fiction is one of my favorite genres. So, now let's choose the theme. And traveling. Science fiction and traveling, it's a classical combination. For example, one of my favorite writers, Jules Verne, created many stories with this amazing combination. So I want to try too. So yeah, let's see if I'll manage to nail this task. So bye!